Okay, so the story time I'm about to tell today is absolutely horrible. And when I say like horrible, I don't mean it's going to be like bad to listen to or like unentertaining. I mean like it's a bad thing to do. Yeah, don't ever do what I do in this story time. This is so mean. But yeah, y'all, I hope you enjoy this story time. If you do, please leave a like on the video. As always, I dropped a new song recently. Check that out. And yeah, let's jump into it. So today's story time all takes place back in the wonderful year of 6th grade. Yeah, middle school. Honestly, middle school was kind of fun. I can't lie. I actually had a lot of fun in middle school. I went to a pretty small school the first year of middle school. And then in 7th and 8th grade, I went to a bigger school. And this story time takes place in 6th grade when I went to that smaller school. And I really liked going there because everyone knew each other. Like literally everybody was friends. There wasn't one group of people at that school that didn't like each other. And that was pretty cool because, you know, most schools, there's always like kind of people that are in groups and stuff. And sometimes people get bullied or something because they don't have similar interests as somebody else or they dress a different way and people are just assholes. You know what I mean? So it was a cool like change of pace to be at this other school that, you know, didn't have that. Now, there was one thing though about that school that was just like any other school. It had its share of asshole teachers. I had this one teacher in specific. And that is exactly who we're going to be talking about in today's story time. So I had this music teacher, okay, in 6th grade. We'll call her Mrs. Johnson, okay? Now, Mrs. Johnson was our music teacher. So she was, you know, the person that would help, you know, teach piano and singing and just anything music related. She was the teacher. But she was a huge, just absolutely ginormous wiener, okay? She sucked. Every chance she got to be mean to a student, she would take it. Like if you just stepped out of line even a little bit, she would make it her mission to punish you and like straight up embarrass you in front of everybody. I remember one time I was in class and a fucking spider crawled up my leg and I was freaking out, smacking it, trying to kill it in my pant leg. And she thought I was like drumming on my leg or something, like for fun. And she was like, "Austin, lunch detention today." I was like, "What? For what?" She's like, "Distracting the class." I was like, "What do you mean distracting the class? There was a spider on my leg." And she's like, "Yeah, okay." Like she was just so quick to hand out detentions and so quick to punish people and yell at them. And I just didn't like her, right? Now, even though I didn't like her and most of the students didn't like her, she never really like crossed the line with me until one day. So one day in 6th grade, I get to school and on this day I had music. We would usually have music class right after lunch. So I'm just going to fast forward to that. So it was after lunchtime. It was time for music class. I went there. I sat down in the same seat I'd always sit in. We didn't have assigned seats or anything, but I would always sit in the same seats near my friends. And Mrs. Johnson comes in late. Don't know what she had going on. Don't know what she was doing. Usually she was in the class before anybody else, but for some reason she was late on this day. And she came in after all the students were already there. And she came in a horrible mood. Like she walked in and didn't say hello to anybody. And the first thing she did was point to me and go, "Austin, tie your shoe." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I bend down and I tie it. And then she goes, "Pull up your pants while you're at it. It looks ridiculous." Guys, I can't stress this enough. My pants were pulled up. They were at a very normal height. They were sitting on the waist right where they were supposed to be. I was not sagging my pants. I do sag my pants sometimes. I won't lie. If I'm wearing like baggy jeans, I wear them a little lower. It's not to the point where like my ass is falling out of my jeans or anything, but like I wasn't doing that on this day. Okay. I swear on everything. So when she said that, I was like, "Well, I can't really pull them up any higher or else it's going to hurt me." And she was like, "No, come on, Austin. Don't give me that. Pull them up." And even my friend spoke up and was like, "Mrs. Johnson, like Austin's not sagging his pants at all. He's just going to get a wedgie if he pulls them up anymore." And then she like immediately dials in on my friend who spoke up and she's like, "I'm sorry. Do you want a lunch detention? Was I talking to you?" And my friend's like, "No, I'm defending Austin." And she goes, "Do you need to defend him? Does he need defense?" And he's like, "I guess not." And she goes, "Great. So be quiet, please. Shut your mouth." And he's like, "Don't talk to me like that." And she goes, "Nope, that's it. Detention. Both of you." She gave me and my homie after school detention on this day. Now, obviously, I was not about to stand for that shit. I was like, "Excuse me, I didn't do anything wrong at all. My shoe was just untied. And like now I'm getting detention for him speaking up. Like that's just ridiculous." And she was like, "Keep talking and I'll make it 2. And I was like, "I'm not going to either of them." And she goes, "Okay, make it 2 then." And I was like, "Cool, I'm not going to go to either one." And she goes, "Yeah, you will, because if you don't, I'll call your parents and you'll get grounded at home." And I was like, "No, I will not, because I'll tell my parents, Hey guys, Mrs. Johnson came into class today in a very upset mood. I think someone pooped in her cereal or something because she came in, told me to tie my shoe, and then somehow I got 2 detentions for nothing. Now, she did not like the pooping in the cereal joke. That made her even more upset and even more crash out, and she ended up giving me 3 days of after-school detention. 3 days of which I had no intentions on going to. I'm not doing that. I didn't do anything wrong. I was not going to do that, right? Anyway, the story time doesn't end there. It gets even better. So about 5 minutes later, she finally gets back to like doing teacher things and she's starting to teach the class, right? And my friend, the one that also got detention, that spoke up in my defense, he leans over to me and he's like, yo, dude, like, do you have like a pen or a pencil I could borrow? Like mine broke and I need it for next class. And like, I don't know who else to ask. And I was like, yeah, man, of course. So I lean down and I'm pulling out a pen from my backpack. Now, we didn't usually use pens or pencils in music class because it was just a lot of like singing or piano or whatever instrument we were doing at the time. And Mrs. Johnson sees me getting the pen out of my backpack and she goes, Austin, why do you need a pen? What are you doing? And I was like, oh, my friend just needed one. He was gonna borrow it for next period. And she goes, this is music class, not next period, not the period before, not the period after that. We're in music class where you don't need your pen, you don't need your pencil, okay? I need your eyes on me. And I was like, I get it, just one sec. And I hand him the pen, and she proceeds to walk over to my desk, and she goes, anything else you want to do? Anything else? We're all waiting. And she's making the whole class stare at me. And I was like, I literally was just handing him a pen. You are being insane today. And she goes, okay, that's it. 1 week after school detention. And I go, I'm not going to any of them. You can hand me 1,000,000 years of after school detention. I will not be after school with you. I will be at home playing my Xbox. And she goes, that's it, main office, now. And I go, okay. So I get up, I grab my backpack, and I had never been so excited to get sent to the principal's office because I'm not kidding, being in the principal's office, getting grilled by my old middle school principal was 1,000,000 times better than dealing with this fucking just evil music teacher, right? Mrs. Johnson. So I'm on my way up to my principal's office, right? I'm walking, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the fire alarm goes off. Yeah, the fire alarm and the whole school goes off, and everyone starts evacuating and going outside and just doing what everyone would do in a fire drill, right? And at first, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was a fire drill. And after I got out of the building and I went to my music class line, because that's what you would do, whatever class you were in, you would line up in their line with that teacher. When I got out there, I realized pretty quick this wasn't a fire drill. 2 fire engines pull up, some police officers pull up, and like they're in the school doing whatever. Apparently there was like a fire in the teacher's lounge. It wasn't serious or anything, but they still had to like evacuate the building for safety and call the fire department. And while we're out there waiting, about 10-15 minutes goes by, and I see Mrs. Johnson go up to a different teacher and whisper something in her ear. And then that different teacher comes over to our line and starts watching us while Mrs. Johnson runs to one of the outdoor porta-potties that's over in the parking lot of our school. So our school would have like a school carnival every year. And around this time, it was about to start and they were setting stuff up early. So they already had some of the porta potties there and some of the rides were like broken down in the parking lot, like about to be set up. And yeah, she went to use one of the porta potties because I'm assuming she had to go really bad. And she had this other teacher looking after us while she went. And while I'm in line just standing there, my friend comes up to me, the same friend that was defending me earlier and got the detention with me. And he goes, yo, you see that Mrs. Johnson just went in that porta potty? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, man, I would fucking love to just like tip that shit over. And I was like, you're telling me, bro. And then one of my other friends overhears us and he goes, dude, I would fucking love to. And then my other friend is like, yep, count me in. And before I know it, there's like this group of people and we're all like joking, but half serious about tipping over this porta potty. And I remember thinking to myself, like, they're not going to do it. Like, they won't do it. Like, it's just a joke, right? Well, all of a sudden, one of our friends takes off running towards the porta potty. And then my other friend follows, and then my other friend follows, and then I follow. And before I know it, we tipped Mrs. Johnson's porta potty with her inside. Yeah. I wish I had a recording of the sound it made when we tipped that shit over. You heard all of the water like splash, and I had never heard a teacher like curse before this. But I heard Mrs. Johnson go, what the fuck? And the door swings open and she climbs out of it like she's climbing up a fucking ladder because it's tipped over. And the thing about Mrs. Johnson is she had like paper white hair. Like her hair was just bright white. I don't know if she dyed it that way or if like it just went really, really gray, like light gray really early on in her life because she wasn't that old. But she has white hair, right? And when she got out of that porta potty, her hair was no longer white. It was fully blue from the fucking porta potty like liquid or whatever. And it was so fucking nasty. And we all got caught, by the way. Literally 3 teachers saw us do it. Like, we ran away after we did it, but it was too late. They saw us. And honestly, we did that with full intention and full, like, expectation that we would get caught. So immediately after she gets out of the porta potty, these teachers, like, run up to her and they're helping her, like, dry off. One of the firefighters had, like, a towel or something. He was helping. And we're just standing there in our fire line, right? And the teacher she had like take over while she was in the porta potty that was watching us saw me and my friends tip the porta potty over. And she walked up to us and she goes, "You guys are all in a huge amount of trouble. I hope you know that. Like when this is over, you guys are done." And she was not kidding. After the fire like was taken care of or whatever, and we were able to go back into the school, the teachers escorted us, me and my friends, to the principal's office. And we had to sit down and apologized to Mrs. Johnson, and then she had to go home and shower or whatever, and they called all of our parents in. Like, they all had to come in and come into the school, and they had to sit down and talk to the principal, and the principal told them what we did, and we all got in a fuck ton of trouble. I got a week out of school suspension, a week of after-school detention, and like 7 lunch detentions, and so did all of my friends. So we all got in a shit ton of trouble, and that's not even counting the shit that happened at home. I lost my Xbox, my PC, like my family computer, everything that was fun I couldn't use. And I remember like on the way home that day, my mom called my dad and like told him what I did, and she put me on the phone with him, and he's like, "Austin, what are you doing, man? Like, why would you do that to that teacher?" And I was like, "You don't understand, Dad. Like, she's just such a jerk. She's so mean." He's like, "Listen, I know. I had teachers I didn't like either growing up, you know? But, like, you can't tip them when they're in a porta potty. Like, you could have hurt her." And I was like, "I know. I'm sorry." And he's like, "Yeah, just, like, don't do it again." And it was, like, just some real, like, gentle parenting. Meanwhile, my mom was like, "You are fucking grounded." Now, the story time isn't over yet, okay? So when we went back to school after the suspension was over, when I had my first music class back, when I tell you that Mrs. Johnson had a fucking vendetta against all of us, oh, she did. The rest of that year, every chance she got to make our lives a living hell, she would. And honestly, it didn't bother me very much because every time she would like scream at me or like give me detention or yell at me or whatever, and I felt like I wasn't in the wrong, I would just think about how she got out of that porta potty with blue hair. Like, at the end of the day, she was just getting even, and she never would, because there was nothing she could say or do to me that would suck as bad as being tipped over in a fucking porta potty. Just period. But yeah, man, in the end, she was fine. It was definitely messed up of me and my friends to do. I look back on it, I'm like, that was really fucked up. We shouldn't have did that. But also, it's a funny story to tell, and I hope you all enjoyed listening to it. If you guys enjoyed this story time, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I will see you all later. Peace.
Take his 401k and I'll put it on my wrist. Only wanna sell my fit. Still I pop these pills and fuck my life up. Yeah, I'll take a sip. Yeah, I still fall for those tricks. I got 7 days.